So the artifact has been asking this question, creator or destroyer? And this week, it finally stops asking and starts demanding. Castor is inside a wall of light, with no way out and only one choice available to him. Outside that wall, the people who trust him are starting to wonder if they should. And across time, Freydis is learning that the thing she's bonded to has its own agenda, and it's been planning further ahead than anyone realized. And away we go.
Light. It wasn't just around them, it was inside them. Castor blinked hard, disoriented. Resonant space was gone. Even the dust-filled or data-filled air was missing, all replaced by a vast, crystalline plane that stretched into pale infinity. Every surface shimmered with translucent geometry, as if the air itself were breathing. Sarah stood a few meters away, her violet hair faintly luminescent.
Castor, we're inside it again.
He turned slowly, the memory of the last jump with the book still vivid, the feeling of falling through folded glass, the silence that followed. Sound hummed around them, low and alive. Sarah's hand twitched in his, but Castor held it.
Wait, we need to figure out what's going on. Where's Drimus and Roger?
Castor, look.
A sphere of golden light, swirling with impossible depth, was forming around the artifact. Inside the sphere, images flickered, a woman clutching her throat, another standing over her, blade drawn. Their words were silent, but the anguish was unmistakable. Castor frowned.
I can't make out who they are.
Zorathians. Ancient ones by their clothing. Maybe the first who ever used the artifact.
The sphere shuddered, then swelled outward, throwing a pulse of force across the plain. They stumbled. Castor and Sarah held on to each other. When he looked back at the sphere, he could see her. Freydis, blade in hand. And the woman on the ground was the same one they'd seen before in the Zorathian garden. The real world flickered, the space they were in, overlaid and glitching in rhythm with his heartbeat. Sarah pulled him close.
It's phasing. The resonance field's destabilizing.
I noticed.
The light intensified. A crystalline petal broke off from the air itself, fluttering down in slow motion. It touched his palm and stayed there. Not an illusion, not a vision. Solid. The world inverted, and they were back in Drimus's room, their breaths sharp and ragged, the sphere from the book starting to shrink and dim. Castor stared at his hand. The petal, translucent, glowing faintly, was still there. Sarah leaned close, voice barely audible.
That still shouldn't be possible.
Then tell me what is.
Had Castor or Sarah looked back at the sphere then, they would have noticed Freydis, staring back at them. The air cracked open. 1 second they were standing in the half-light of the resonance space, Freydis frozen mid-motion as she stared through time at them, eyes filled with centuries of grief. And the next, everything inverted. A wave of pressure folded over them like the world had hiccuped. Sarah gasped as her feet left the ground. Drimus shouted something that sounded like,
"Hold on to your cats!"
Then, impact. The four of them slammed down hard on rough, warm stone. The air was wet and thick with the scent of jungle loam and flowering rot. Roger groaned and sat up, wiping mud off his face.
Ugh, hats. That's hold on to your hats, Drimus, not cats. Where in the hell are we now?
Sarah's eyes swept the clearing, posture instinctively defensive. The canopy above was a dense braid of green and gold light, insects buzzing like static. Carved into the rock beside them yawned a massive cave opening, rimmed with glyphs that shimmered faintly with the same energy as the artifact.
Not as much wear.
Sarah said, pulling herself to her feet, voice low and reverent.
As when?
From the cave mouth came movement. 2 men stepped out, almost identical, bare-chested, bronze-skinned, their eyes luminous with the faint silver of portal light. Around their necks hung carved discs of obsidian and crystal, pulsing softly in rhythm. One carried a book. Roger's breath caught.
Oh, really? The universe is having quite the laugh at our expense. More artifact versions?
The object was unmistakable, yet different. The one from the cave resonated at a lower pitch, dimmer, incomplete compared to the one glowing faintly in Castor's arm. Roger pointed, voice cracking.
You've got to be kidding me. Or is it a different one?
Drimis shook her head slowly.
No, the same one, fractured. Split across time and power.
The twins stopped a few meters away on moss-covered stone. They studied Castor like he were a specimen. Then, in perfect unison, they spoke, deep, ritualistic voices rising and falling, as if reciting from memory.
From the dawn's breach to the dying star, three strands from one truth divided. Now two stand as one, flesh and resonance, matter and memory. He is the soil.
Their eyes glowed brighter. Castor froze.
What the hell does that mean?
Sarah stepped slightly in front of him, muscles tense.
It means they think you're part of it. Part of the thing that links them all.
The twins began to circle, their movements eerily synchronized.
The sister is correct. The soil gives rise to the seed. Seed calls the storm. The storm reaps the sky.
Their words weren't entirely human or Zorathian. They were part chant, part invocation. As they spoke, the cave behind them began to shimmer, a deep violet haze twisting outward, the scent of ozone thickening in the air. The book, now in Castor's right hand, flared open, pages fluttering in an invisible wind. The twins' version of the artifact responded instantly, their glow strengthening, harmonizing in a terrible, beautiful chord. Drimis staggered backward, Roger trying to help steady her. She shielded her eyes.
They're sinking. The resonance fields are collapsing into each other.
Sarah grabbed Castor's arm.
Close it! You have to!
Light surged upward, turning the jungle to glass. Castor could feel it through him. His heartbeat synced with the pulse, his vision filled with symbols and memories not his own. He saw Zora. He saw the Covenant. He saw Freydis on her knees, screaming his name, even though she couldn't possibly know him. And beneath it all, the twins' voices merged into one.
The soil must break for the roots to take.
The ground trembled. Sarah grabbed Castor and pulled him close, shouting over the rising hum.
Castor, whatever happens next, you can't let go of me.
Then everything went white. Triel Van folded her arms. Her reflection ghosted in the transparent screen that she communicated to the Kren assassin with.
You look horrible, and your body temperature has dropped another 2 degrees. That's not survival, that's decay.
Rashek's gill lines flickered pale orange.
I will endure until I see the station. The artifact's pulse grows with each human breath it tastes.
Then explain that. How do you know what the artifact is doing?
He smiled, a slow, deliberate, and cruel smile.
Because I felt its echo through the helix field before you even found it. The resonance of its gatework crosses voids and time alike. You hear only its song. I hear its language.
What language?
Not for you. Take me to the station.
At that moment, the door hissed open. Silas entered, silent in his dark uniform, the streak of dried goo on his cheek from earlier. He stopped beside Vrashek, eyes fixed on Triel Van.
Yes, get us to the station.
Triel Van turned sharply.
Excuse me?
Silas didn't look at her.
You want answers about the artifact? He's connected to it. I can get what we need, but we'll need to move him. Move us both.
You think he needs to be back on Oryx?
Yes, under guard, of course. I'll be there the entire time.
In truth, he had another motive. The data chip Talrin had hidden on her person was burning a hole in Silas's pocket, and the chip contained a partial hollow of Vrashek stabbing Talrin through the chest. This was his chance to bring the assassin into open ground. Covenant business or not, Talrin had been his partner. Triel Van hesitated, then finally nodded.
Fine, but I want a full relay on your comms, and a beacon on both of you. You go together and you stay in the public concourse first. Go to the portal at the Four Corners bar.
You waste time.
If you want to step foot on this station, you'll do it my way. Besides, it's the nearest portal available. You'll drink something, sit where I can see you, and answer when I ask.
Silas gripped Vrashek's forearm, the contact like ice. A thin hiss of steam where Vrashek's arm drew in the heat of Silas's grasp.
You heard her. Let's go have a drink.
The cold fjord wind bit through Freydis's cloak as she descended the rocky ridge. Below her, the Viking encampment spread out like a constellation of torch fires against the dark. The artifact pulsed faintly against her chest, a rhythm she now recognized as a heartbeat that wasn't hers. It had been a week. She'd cleaned her garments of Salon's blood, screamed for Darren and spent countless hours trying to understand what she'd seen. Castor, the artifact, the others, some Zorathian, some not, haunted her thoughts. And what of the one in the robes? Or the woman who looked like Salon? But she had killed Salon. Now something, the artifact or instinct, compelled her to return to the camp. She reached the longhouse. Warriors were gathered inside, speaking of raids and omens. When she entered, the longhouse fell silent. She moved like a shaman, like a seer.
The stars have shifted. A shadow moves beneath the sun's fire. We will not wait for it to strike.
A roar went up as they looked to her for guidance, beating their weapons on the floor and tables. She realized the artifact was whispering through her, shaping her words, aligning her tone of authority. The longer she spoke, the more the camp obeyed without question. That night, she walked to the shore. The artifact shimmered, its internal geometry spinning slowly as frost patterns. The boy, Castor, your line will continue. He is who must bear me. Freydis's breath caught.
Castor.
You are now, he is after. He is bloodline back to you, but after. But through Salon's kin. The girl who stands beside, Sarah, is of that blood. Freydis frowned.
The one from the vision, in the white room that looks like Salon.
The mark of Salon Sudis her blood carries. Her interference could bind fate again. She bends him already. You must not allow her to steer him from our path. Freydis gripped the artifact, her reflection warped in its light. the words, "our path," not lost on her.
Then what would you have me do?
Lead. Rule. Prepare the tribes. When the Helix Gate opens again to condense us, you must be ready, or the Covenant will claim all worlds. The aurora unfurled overhead, streaks of green and violet across the sky. Freydis lifted her chin, her expression half terrified, half exalted.
Then I will make them ready.
The artifact pulsed once, like the nod of a king. The descent into the Aztec cavern felt like falling into the bones of a dying star. Light refracted through the mineral walls, spiraling into impossible geometries that pulsed in rhythm with the artifact pressed against Castor's chest. Sarah moved beside him, eyes luminous in the half-light.
It's singing.
It's calling.
Castor corrected. The echo of his own voice came back fractured, syllables bending and reforming into unfamiliar words. Ahead, the twins, Andin and Lyra, waited near the cavern's heart. The glow of their artifact copy pulsed out of sync with Castor's, like two hearts in a rhythmic combat. Andin stepped forward, trembling, sweat streaking the paint on his face.
You stole it. It called us first.
Lyra's voice followed, higher, almost childlike.
It chose us before it ever knew your name.
The resonance chamber around them began to shudder, walls sliding between matter and energy. Sigils carved into the stone melted into liquid light. Sarah stepped between them.
The artifact doesn't choose that way,
she said, her voice a low hum that made the air vibrate. Sparks of pale blue energy rose from her palms.
It responds, and it's done responding to you.
Andin screamed and lunged. Lyra mirrored him perfectly, the motion unnaturally synchronized. Sarah met them halfway, a flash of plasma and sound that tore through the air like thunder underwater. The impact sent all three tumbling across the glowing stone.
Stop it!
Castor shouted, but the artifact in his hand hungry, as if feeding on their conflict. Sarah recovered first, on her feet well before either twin, her eyes burning with light. She struck again, crashing a booted foot into Lyra, shattering the twins' mirrored movement for an instant, but they regrouped, flanked her, their own artifact in Andin's hands blazing white. This attack, the twins started symmetrically, but one went high while the other low. Sarah had anticipated the head strike and ducked underneath, but the low strike caught her at the knee and knocked her to her back. Both twins pounced, trying to eliminate her as a threat before reclaiming the artifact. Castor felt something surge inside him. All at once, fear, instinct, command, ownership, worry. He raised his arm without thinking and yelled, "Stop!" The artifact answered. The copy of the artifact in Andin's hand dissolved into a torrent of golden-purple data particles that erupted outward. They filled the chamber like a storm of coated fireflies before all finding their way to the artifact in Castor's now raised hand. The twins froze mid-stride, screams caught in their throats as the particles moved from the book in Castor's hand to engulf their bodies. Their forms began to stutter, flicker, then unravel, atom by atom. Lyra reached toward Castor, eyes wide with horror.
It wasn't supposed to.
They dissolved before the sentence finished. When the light faded, the cavern was silent. The twins were gone. Only motes of light drifted toward Castor's artifact, merging into its surface like mist absorbed by glass. The air still shimmered with their last screams, the scent of ozone and iron clinging to the stone. Sarah stood trembling, blood on her lip.
What was that?
Castor's breathing was ragged.
I didn't mean to.
The artifact glowed, calm now, as though satisfied. Roger stumbled forward, face pale in the blue light.
You didn't mean to. You commanded it. You didn't just defend us. You used it like a weapon.
I was trying to save her.
Yeah, that's how it always starts. You're starting to sound like the ones who think they can rule the universe. Today, Sarah needs saving. Tomorrow, it'll be Arizona. Then everyone in the Milky Way.
The accusation hung in the air like smoke. No one spoke. Even Sarah turned away, eyes glistening with something that wasn't entirely anger. Then, with a low, seismic hum, the artifact began to unfold. Lines of light spiraled around Castor, forming translucent walls of shifting geometry. The others rushed forward, but their hands struck invisible barriers.
Castor!
He reached for her, but his hand met solid light. Choose, the artifact whispered inside his head. Creator or destroyer. Helix or void. The path cannot hold both. The walls brightened until they blotted out everything. The cavern, the team, even Sarah's voice. And then there was only light.
The artifact has been circling that question the entire book. Creator or destroyer? And it just stopped being patient. Castor is inside a wall of light. Sarah's voice cut off, and the only thing left is a choice he's not ready to make. Roger's accusation is still hanging in the air too. That's how it always starts. And the worst part is, he's not entirely wrong. We'll find out what Castor does with an impossible question and no way out. If you are enjoying the podcast, please like and subscribe wherever you listen. I really appreciate it. Until next time, keep your eye on the curve.